यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिरिषावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम ॐ जय राम ॐ। यावर रामचंद्र की जय। Hari Om. We were in the prasanga of Dhanush Bhanga. When Parvati ji asked Lord Shiva to tell her Ramakatha, she said, Bhagwan, please tell me elaborately. I am in no hurry. So tell me that prasangas, tell me those leelas that Bhagwan did, listening to which my heart will get purified. I'll be able to revel in that Ananda. So tell me that Ramakatha. So whenever you read these prasangas, it looks as though Lord Shiva is telling Parvati ji exactly what she had asked for. Very elaborately. Just now later on we will see Sitaji holding the jaimala and putting it on Lord Rama. For that much Goswamiji has written around 5 to 8 dohas. Slowly he will bring Sitaji, slowly he will describe the situation. Then she will go and put that jaimala. But in and through that, lot of sadhana pointers, lot of Vedanta is included. So we have to appreciate both of it. We had seen in the last session, Lakshmanji's anger, how it was. Shown in the right place at the right time. And then different emotions of different sadhakas over there. And there was one portion where Sitaji's mother, she feels very anxious. She feels, how is Bhagwan Rama, who is so young, how is he going to break this bow? And then Sakhis, they tell her about this point that whenever something looks small, don't underestimate the strength of that thing. And they give several examples. Mantra paramalagu jasubasa bidi hari hara sura sarva. 256th doha. That is oft quoted. Mantra paramalagu jasubasa bidi hari hara sura sarva. Just like very simple looking sadhana, japa, it has so much power that it can bring that devata and the sadhaka can have darshan of that devata. This is also upasana siddhanta, that whenever we worship Bhagavan, whenever we do upasana, the support for upasana is very small. The upasana that we are familiar with is, pratika upasana, when we have a physical form of Bhagavan and we say, this is my Bhagavan. So there could be a thought that how can this little idol which I am worshipping, how can that be all pervading Bhagavan? In particular, when we do Shodashopachara Puja, we feel we are supporting that idol. Right? I am giving achamanam, I am giving abhishekam, I am offering naivedyam. But there, this vritti should be there, that the Bhagwan who is Shadeshwarya Sampanna, one who is endowed with all 6 bhaga, one who is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, endowed with all those qualities, that all-powerful Bhagwan I am worshipping in this form. So looking at the alambanam, looking at the support, one should not doubt the power of all-pervading Lord. And also the efficacy of that sadhana. Like, for example, mantra japa, it might be very simple, but it is having a lot of great results. Sadhana becomes effective when we do it with mahatva buddhi. Mahatva buddhi means having a lot of reverence in that. It might be smaller for shorter duration, but it is done with a lot of love and lot of oneness with Bhagavan. Putting our mind, making it one with that thing. Just like how our mind becomes one with other things, right? Whatever we like. It could be reading a book, listening to music. Sometimes we forget ourselves. Sadhana is also the same way. Whichever sadhana we have taken up, doing it with a lot of reverence and also tuning with Bhagavan. So then Sitaji, Goswamiji turned the camera towards Sitaji, and now he is elaborating what are the emotions Sitaji is going through. And she is praying to Lord Ganesha, praying to Parvati ji, Lord Shiva. And she is, showing a very, she's doing leela over here. All these are leelas of Artharthi Bhakta. Somebody who is wanting something from Bhagwan. So Bhagwan says, even that is okay, but ask only from me. So she is asking that if my devotion is true, may this bow become lighter for Bhagwan Rama. But now she shows a very unique leela. Unique in the sense, she is showing it just to demonstrate what is the plight of jivas in general. What is the story of jiva? On one hand, there is bhakti. One hand, there is sharanagati. Means the sadhaka is not completely oblivious of Bhagwan. He does sadhana, does whatever pujanam has to be done, everything he does. But at the same time, there is worry also. That same thing which he offered at Bhagwan's feet, just now said, Bhagwan, you take care. Right the next moment, the same thing starts worrying that person. So that Leela she is doing over here. Let us see now after 257th Doha. Nike nirakhi nayana bhari sobha pitupanu sumiri bahuri manu chobha ahah tat daruni hatthani samujhat nahi kachu labhu nahani sachiv sabhaya sikh de na koi buddha samaj bada anuchita hoi कह धनु कुलिसहु चाहि कठोरा कह श्यामल मृदु गात किशोरा विधि के ही भांति धरौ धीरा सिर तिरस सुमन कन बेधिय हीरा सकल सभा के मति भय भोरी अब मोहि शंभु चाप गति तोरी निज जड़ता लोगन पर डारी ओहि हरुवर रघुपति निहारी अति परिताप सीय मन माही लव निमेष जुग सय समजाही प्रभु ही चितय पुनि चितव मही राजत लोचन लोल खेलत मनसि जमीन जुग जनु बिदु मंडल डोल गिरा अलिनि मुख पंकज रोकी प्रगटन लाज निसा अवलोकी लोचन जलु रह लोचन कोना जैसे परम कृपन कर सोना सकुचि व्याकुलता बड़ी जानी धरि धीरजु प्रतीति उरानी तन मन बचन मोर पनु साचा रघुपति पद सरोज चितुराचा तौ भगवानु सकल उरबासी करिहि मोहि रघुबर कैलासी जेहि के जेहि पर सत्य सनेहो सोते ही मिलई न कछु संदेहो प्रभु तन चितई प्रेम तन ठाना कृपा निधान राम सबु जाना सियहि बिलोकित केउ धनु कैसे चितव गरुरु लघु ब्यालहि जैसे लखनु लखेउ रघुबंश मणि ताके हर को दंडु पुलकी गात बोले बचन चरण चाप ब्रह्मांडु दिसि कुंजरहु कमठ अहि कोला धरहु धरनि धरि धीर न डोला रामु चहई शंकर धनु तोरा हो सजग सुनियाय सुमोरा चाप समीप रामु जब आए नर नारी न सुर सुकृत मनाए सब कर समसौ अरु अज्ञानु मंद महीपन कर अभिमानु भृगुपति केरि गर्भ गरुआई सुर मुनि बरन केरि कदराई सिय कर सोचु जनक पछितावा रानी न कर दारुन दुख दावा शंभु चाप बड़ बोहत पाई चढ़े जाई सब संग बनाई राम बाहु बल सिंधु अपारो चाहत पारु नहीं को कड़हारो राम बिलो के लोग सब चित्र लिखे से देखी चितई सिय कृपायतन जानि बिकल विशेषी देखी विपुल विकल भय देहि निमिष बहात कल्प समतेहि तृषित बारि बिनु जो तनु त्यागा मुहे करई का सुधा तड़ागा काबर शा सब कृषि सुखाने समय चुके पुनि का पछिताने असजिय जानी जानकी देखे प्रभु पुल के लखी प्रीति विशेषे गुरहि प्रणाम मन ही मन कीन्हा अति लाघव उठाई धनु लीन्हा दम के उदामिनी जिमि जब लयऊ पुनि नभ धनु मंडल सम भयऊ लेत चढ़ावत खेचत गाढ़े काहू न लखा देख सब उठाड़े तेहि छन राम मध्य धनु तोरा भरे भुवन धुनि घोर कठोरा भरे भुवन घोर कठोर रव रवि बाजित जिमा रघु चले चिक्करहि दिग्गज डोल महियहि कोल कुरुम कलमले सुर असुर मुनि कर कान दीन है सकल बिकल विचारहि कोदंड खंडे राम तुलसी जयति बचन उचारहि शंकर चापु जहाजो सागर रघुबर बाहुबलु बूढ़ सो सकल समाजो चढ़ा सो प्रथम ही मोह बस सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। So Sitaji is now having mixed emotions. On one hand, looking at Bhagwan, she is feeling so happy from inside. But on another hand, she remembers the vow that Janak Maharaj has taken. That unless you break this bow, nobody can marry Sitaji. He says, why did my father have to take such a vow? He doesn't appreciate what is good and what is not good. He also knew Bhagwan Rama and he also recognized Bhagwan Rama. Everything could have been done by now. Unnecessarily, he took that vow. And she says, all the ministers who are there are afraid. That is why they are not giving the right advice. Telling Janak Maharaj that you can drop this vow, don't hold on to it unnecessarily. And this is a sabha of all wise people, and the right thing is not happening over here. And she feels there is a mismatch between the bow and Bhagwan Rama. Same Sitaji, who just now prayed to Bhagwan and did all that Sakama Bhakti, asked for Bhagwan's grace and everything. Still, there is a doubt that whether Bhagwan will actually be able to break this or not. Then she's telling everybody as though, you keep telling me I should stay composed, I should be calm. How am I supposed to be calm? Vidhi kehi bhanti dharo uradhira. Third chaupai hai. He's telling Bhagwan, you keep telling that, oh, be calm, be patient, be strong. In such a situation, how am I supposed to be, composed? She gives an example. Sirasa sumana kana bhediya hira. Sirasa sumana means there is a shirisha flower. It has pink needle-like, very tender, that is how the flower looks. If you take one that, petal of that flower, with that tender petal, can you make a hole in diamond? This is just like that I'm feeling right now. Bhagwan Rama, who is like that, Shirisha Sumana, so tender, he is a Rajkumar, so young. How can he come and lift this bow? That is her manobhava right now. That is what is going on in her mind. And she says all this sabha has lost their wisdom. Everybody is just sitting there. Vishwamitra Rishi also gave Ashirvada and everything. They don't know what is right, what is wrong. Sitaji is thinking. Now she says, my only hope is the bow. Nobody else can save. Now she is talking to the bow. What does she say? Nije jadata logana paradari ho hi haruva ragupati hi nihari. She is telling to the bow, your jadata which is there, your heaviness which is there, Nija jadata logana parahari. Play of words it is. Just now she said the entire sabha is jada. I mean, they are not thinking in the right way. So she is telling to the bow, you put your jadata also on them. Anyway, they are jada. Little bit more jada they will become. But you will become lighter looking at Bhagwan Rama. Ho hi haruva ragupati hi nihari. O bow, become lighter by looking at Bhagwan and put your jadata on, this loka which is there, other people who are there. Ati paritapa siya manamahi lava nimesh juga saya samajahi. One moment looked like as though, it's a long, long yuga. And then so much of santapa, so much of agitation going on in her mind. Sitaji is looking at Bhagwan Rama and the earth. Her eyes are just looking at Bhagwan and the earth. How is it? Goswamiji gives example. Khelata manasija meena juga janubida mandala dola. This example also, it is difficult to translate in English. In olden days, or even now in villages, they used to fill water from the pond. And sometimes what would happen is, it's like a small container. They would bring water either for drinking purpose or for irrigation purpose. In that, some fish would also come. By mistake, that fish would also come. Then they would have to put it back or do something with it. So in that container, there would be two fishes which are swimming there. So Goswamiji says that container is like the moon. And in that, Kamadeva himself has become the fish. In that moon, as though Kamadeva himself has become the fish, and that fish is playing around in that moon. Like that, Sitaji's eyes are looking at Bhagwan Rama and the ground. Now this chaupai that we just saw, the fourth one, Nija Jadata Logana Paradari, Ho hi Haruva Raghupati hi Nihari. Once again, I got stuck while reading that chaupai. Because one is part of the prasanga. She is just saying to that bow in a way that, please become lighter, put your jadta on this loka, other people. Look at Bhagwan Rama and give up your jadata. So Maharaj Ji, Swami Akhandanand Ji, he presented a very beautiful perspective to this. Swami Ji said, Sitaji can be attained only by breaking the bow. Means that Swayamvara is the criteria for attaining Sitaji. And what does that bow symbolize? He says that bow symbolizes Jadata. Many symbolisms are there. One symbolism is Jadata. And Jadata is nature of Prakriti. Whatever comes under three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo guna, whatever is there within that Prakriti, everything is Jada. One cannot attain Sitaji, who is Shanti Swarupa, unless we shift our attention away from Jada. This mind gets drawn towards Jada. Paranchi Khani it is. Vyatrunat Swayambhu. Sense organs will always go towards Jada. Letting go of Jadata meaning shifting our attention from Jada to Chaitanya. And breaking of the bow is required because you cannot leave Prakriti as independent. Chaitanya and Prakriti cannot remain as two different things. Chaitanya has to be, or that Prakriti has to be understood as Chaitanya Rupa only. Prakriti has to be understood as Chaitanya Rupa only, means it has to be broken in the sense reality given to that Prakriti has to be removed. So that is this Vivaha. Actually speaking, there was no separation to begin with. But because of ignorance, it appeared as though Jada is different and Chaitanya is different. But through Tattva Vichara, through Vedanta Vichara, one is this sadhaka has done or shifted attention away from Jada through sadhana, through bhakti. But that is not sufficient. That bow has to be broken, meaning duality has to be removed. That is why this chaupai comes, Nija Jadata Logana Paradari. That Prakriti is Jadata which is there, it should be negated and it should be understood as Chaitanya Rupa. Once that illusory snake is understood as illusory snake, then you can very well say that snake is nothing but rope. What is that snake representing? Prakriti. And rope is Chaitanya, Bhagwan Rama. So Prakriti and Brahma, if nature of Brahma has been understood correctly, then Prakriti is understood to be of the nature of Brahma. This Prakriti means this world that we are seeing. Jnani doesn't see this world as Prakriti. Jnani sees this world as Brahma. right? So that is this chaupai. Nije jadatha logana paradari, hohi haruva ragupati hi nihari. Know the nature of Brahma and understand that Jada Prapancha doesn't have independent existence. It is an appearance in Brahma, and it is Brahma Sarupa only. That was a different Vedantic insight to these chaupais. Now you see Goswamiji's poetry. If you have to say somebody did not speak, how much elaboration does it take? You say that person did not speak. One sentence, it is over. Now Goswamiji wants to say Sitaji did not speak. Even though she was having all these emotions and thoughts inside, she did not speak. But you see his poetry, how he puts it. Gira alini mukha pankaja roki, pragatana laja nisa avaloki. He says, Sitaji's speech is like honeybee. And that honeybee was not allowed to go out of her mouth. I mean, that speech was not allowed to go out of her mouth. Just like the lotus doesn't allow the honeybee to go out. Why? Because night has come. And that night is night of modesty. Okay, pragatana laja nisa avaloki. Because night of modesty has come, this lotus has, shrunk, and it has kept that bee inside. Like that, Sitaji is unable to speak, and that speech is represented by that honeybee. Such a poetic expression. And he says she cannot shed tears also. Why is that? Because Swayamvara is happening. It is supposed to be a democratic competition. She cannot start crying before. Right? Lochana jalu raha lochana kona. So those tears stopped themselves at the corner of her eyes. Jaise parama krupana karasona. Just like somebody who is a miser and he has lot of wealth, he has gold and everything. How that gold remains with him and does not go out. Like that, tears remained at the corner of Sitaji's eyes. She did not shed tears. But recognizing that she is getting anxious, she is getting vyakulta, suddenly she composes herself and remembers Bhagwan. Dhiraja, dhari dhiraju pratiti uraani. So devotion, that is the strength. What it shows until here is, we might swing sometimes into anxiety, sometimes suddenly devotion will be high, which is natural. But culmination or the end point should be Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai. Bhagwan's jaya should happen. His devotion should be so strong that it removes anxiety from our life. So then she says, if my devotion to Bhagwan is true, then I will become Dasi of Bhagwan. To Bhagavanu sakala urabasi, karihi mohi raghubara ke dasi. If my devotion to Bhagwan is true, he will come and he will break this bow and this Swayamvara will happen. I mean, this is Sitaji's Varanam for Bhagwan. Later on, Bhagwan does Varanam of Sitaji. Yame Vaisha Vrunute Tena Labhya. Jiva does Varanam of Bhagwan. Later on, Bhagwan says, I am your Samudharta. Tesham aham Samudharta Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. So you chose me, I will take care of all other things. Yoga Kshema, everything I will take care of. But single-pointedly, seek me first. That is this prasanga Sitaji is showing us how a bhakta lakshana is. And she says, whatever I am Bhagwan's alone. That Shraddha she has, that Varanam she has for Bhagwan. Now Bhagwan saw Sitaji and then he's looking at the bow. How did he look at the bow? Just like Garuda looks at a small snake. He is very confident of accomplishing what he is set out for. It is just few minutes away now. Looking at Bhagwan, looking at the bow, Lakshmanji stands up, puts his foot down. He has, thrill and horripilations. And he's alerting all other Dikpalas who are there. Kashyapa Avatara Bhagwan took. These are all Pauranic, references. We see the first chaupai after 259. Disi kanjarahu kamata ahi kola. Disi kanjarahu kamata ahi kola. Dharahu dharani dhari dhirana dola. Disi kanjarahu means there are cardinal elephants. Dig Devatas, we saw in Kenopanishad class. Devatas are not on their own. They have, their vehicles also. So every vehicle is an elephant and every elephant has a name. Like Indra's vehicle is Airavata. So every Devata has an elephant. And they say they are the ones who are holding this entire Brahmanda together. So like that there is Kashyapa, there is Vasuki. Ahi means Vasuki. Kola means a boar. Varaha Avatara Bhagwan took. So Lakshmanji is Shesha Bhagwan, right? So he is giving an order to everybody. Be alert now. There is something going to happen. Everything will shake. Don't let everything fall down. Everybody be alert. Bhagwan is ready to break the bow. Now Goswamiji gives a very beautiful, deep, symbolic meaning of this bow. You see after the second chaupai, after the first one. Chapa Sameep Rama Jaba Aye, Naranarina Sura Sukruta Manaye. All Naranaris who are there, they started celebrating that our punyas have been fulfilled today. They have fructified today. Now he says, this bow is like a boat. Okay, this bow, Shiva Dhanush, is a boat. And there are different people who are going to sit in this boat. Who are these people? Those people he is describing now. Passenger number 1. Sabakara Samsau Aru Agyanu. The doubts everybody had and the ignorance everybody had about Bhagwan Rama. These are the first 2 people who are climbing that boat. Okay, passenger 1, passenger 2. Samsaya means doubt. Agyanu means ignorance. Manda Mahipana Kara Abhimanu. All the foolish kings who were there, who were so proud about their strength. So that pride is the 3rd passenger on this boat. Abhimanu, whatever pride they had. About several other accomplishments. All of them are going to climb on this boat. The pride that Parshuramji had. Bhrugupati Keri Garaba Garu Ai. That is the 4th passenger. Sura Muni Barana Keri Kadarai. Rishi Munis, Devatas, whatever fear they had, that is the 5th passenger getting on this boat. Siyakara Sochu Janaka Pachitava. The regret that Janak Maharaj had because of this vow he had taken, thinking about Sitaji, what is going to happen. All that anxiety and regret, that is another passenger. Ranina Kara Daruna Dukhadava. The santapa, the agitation, anxiety that the queens were having, it was like a forest fire. That kind of anxiety was there. That is another passenger on this boat. Sambu Chapa Bada Bohitu Pai Chade Jai Saba Sangu Banai. Now all these passengers are together climbing on this boat. Sangu Banai means they are going as a group and sitting over here. What is the ocean? He says ocean is Bahubala of Bhagwan Ram. Ram Bahubala Sindhu Aparu Chahat Aparu Nahi Ko Kadaharu. They want to cross over this ocean, but they don't have a boatsman. Everybody got into this boat, but they are seeking somebody to cross over now. Different analogy, huh? You don't have to take ocean means samsara all the time. Okay. Same example he takes, but he is giving different analogy. He says the boat is represented by the Shiva Dhanush. On this boat, there are different kinds of emotions. Most of them are emotions that we want to get away from our life. All of them are going and climbing on this boat now. राम बिलो की लोग सब चित्र लिखे से देखी चितई सीय कृपायतन जान बिकल विशेषी. Now he leaves that boat there only for a minute. We'll come to that boat. Everybody has gotten on that boat so far. And it is such a scene over there that everybody becomes still like a picture. Everybody is so anxious and so uncertain what is going to happen now that they are still like a picture. And Sitaji is the most anxious one. Bhagwan looks at Sitaji and he says, I should not delay it too more. I mean, I should not delay it too much. 2 more minutes, you don't know, Sitaji will, just cross all her limits of patience and everything. He said we should do the right thing at the right time. If a person is thirsty, you should dig the well and give him water at the right time. If he leaves his sharira, and after that you dig a well of amrutam, this is what is the use. Okay. Trushita bari binu jotanu tyaga muye karai ka sudha tadaga. What is the point in having that pond of amrutam after that person has left the body? What is the point of having rains after crops have dried up? This is things should be done at the right time. I should not delay too much. Saying this, Bhagwan looks at Sitaji and Sitaji is delighted that Bhagwan is recognized and he is going to do this Dhanush Bhanga now. He does pranams to Vishwamitra Rishi in his mind and goes near that Dhanush. Nobody even knew what happened. Bhagwan was so swift. Damakevu damini jimi jaba layavu puninama mandala puninama dhanu mandala sama bhayavu. Suddenly there was an orb in the sky and thunder was there. That much of sound was there. So when Bhagwan lifted that bow, when he took that string, when he strung it, nobody saw. That was Bhagwan's virata. That was his strength. But finally, that bow was broken. Dhanush Bhanga happened. Tehi chana Rama madhya dhanu tora, bhare bhuvana dhuni ghora kathora. Bhagwan is standing there, that bow which was so difficult to break, it looked so ferocious, all of that was broken in a minute. What was the repercussion of that? Even though Lakshmanji had warned everybody, stay alert, Bhagwan is going to break the bow, but still a lot of things happened. The horses of sun god lost track. They have a path, the trajectory they travel. You see, those horses lost track with the sound that came from this bow. Bhare bhuvana ghora kathora rava rabi baji taji ma ragu chale. Ma ragu taji means they left their path and went somewhere else. And all the elephants which were there, they just trumpeted. That sound that they make, that they did. Earth shook. Lot of things happened with breaking of that bow. And Devatas, Goswami said, they took their hands and put it on the ears. It was so loud. Sura asura munikara kana deen hai sakala bikala bichara. They wondered, what did Bhagwan do? We were waiting to watch, what he is going to do. But before we could see anything, bow was broken. Now Goswamiji says, Ko danda khandevu Rama tulasi jayati bachana ucharahi. O sadhakas, listen. this description that I did, it is what I saw with my eyes. He says, I was also there in that Dhanush Bhanga Prasanga, in that Yajnashala I was there, and I started doing Jai Jaikar of Bhagwan Rama. Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai. Tulasi Jayati Bachana Ucharahi. That Jai Jaikar I was doing in that Dhanush Yajna. Now Goswamiji concludes what happened to that boat. Everybody got on that boat, right? So he says, Sankara Chapu Jahaju. The bow of Lord Shiva is the boat. Sagaru Raghubara Bahubala. And Bhagwan Rama's strength, that is the ocean in which this boat is there. Budaso Sakala Samaju Chadajo Prathamahi Mohabasa. Along with all the negativities which was there, this boat drowned in that ocean. Negativities, all abhimana, whatever other things he pointed out in that previous chaupais, ignorance, doubt, regret, fear, all those things which were there, they got into that boat and drowned in that ocean of strength of Bhagwan Ram. So may Bhagwan's grace be there, that Dhanush Bhanga also happens in our life. Why? Because we have to become adhikaris for Vedanta. Nirgata Nikhila Kalmashataya should happen. It happens with Bhagwan's grace, and our Vyavaharik life, one can live with lot of strength. Now Bhagwan nicely takes the two pieces. He nicely takes the two pieces of those bow and he keeps it on that table. Whatever was there. Prabhu do chapa khanda mahidare, de ki loga saba bhaye sukhare. Everybody is happy looking at that. But Goswamiji describes the happiness of his guru first. Vishwamitra Rishi, he is so happy looking at Bhagwan Rama. He says Vishwamitra Rishi is like the ocean where there is water of love. In that ocean, the water which is there, that is love, that is the ocean of Vishwamitra Rishi. And Bhagwan Rama, he looked like, the moon. Very soothing. Even after he did such a ferocious act, he is very calm and composed standing there. And everybody else is just thrilled looking at what is going to come next. They are ready to celebrate this wedding and everything. So drums, whatever devatas they have kept ready, they start beating the drums. All other different devatas have different skills. That's what I think. Some of them are good dancers, some of them are good in instruments. All of that starts happening. Brahmaji, it's very interesting. You hear all other devatas singing, dancing, doing so many things. Brahmaji does not do. Have you seen any time Brahmaji playing drums, Brahmaji doing other things? Say no, Brahmaji does stuti of Bhagwan. Brahmadika sura siddha munisa prabhuhi prasam sahi dehi asisa. This is the third chaupai after 261. Different sadhakas will have different ways of expressing joy. Brahmaji is very calm and composed, and he has his own dharma. Right? According to dharma, they will have their vyavahara. So he is acharya, he is having his own dharma. And over here, you see what is said, Prabhu hi prasam sahi dehi asisa. They do stuti of Bhagwan, but give blessings also. This is all their Leela Samharanam. They are just expressing their Leelas, that Bhagwan is in Rajkumara Vesha right now. only on that strength, only on that idea, they are giving blessings to Bhagavan. Otherwise, nobody can give blessings to Bhagavan, right? Seek blessings from Bhagavan. Later on in Ram Valmiki Samvada, Goswamiji says, whatever costume we have worn, according to that we should dance. Jehi kanchiya tehi karahui nacha, or something like that he says. Kanchiya means costume. Whatever costume you are wearing, according to that, vyavahara should be there. That is how Valmiki ji praises Bhagwan Rama. He says, whenever you are interacting with everybody, you do it as though you are, a prince. You don't do it like Lord of the universe. That is what I appreciate in Bhagavan. So these Rishi Munis are giving Ashirvad to Bhagavan now. In a lot of flowers and songs and everything is sung. And the Jai Jaikar sound that everybody is doing, now imagine how that Dhanush Yajna would have been. Suddenly it became very quiet. And then there was a loud sound. And now again celebrations have started. Drums are beating, people are singing, and that Jai Jaikar is going on. But it was so loud that it drowned even the sound of this Dhanush breaking. Which sound? Jai Jaikar sound. That is how Goswami is describing what is happening there. And all other bards who are there, they are called, and they sing something which is called as Birudavali. You see 262, Bandi Magada, Bandi Magada Suta Gana, Biruda Badahi, Mati Dhira. Biruda means Birudavali. Whenever some revered person is there, in those days, even for kings, they would have Birudavali. Their significant qualities which will inspire everybody, whatever their accomplishments are, not, like where they were born or how old they are, not those kind of achievements. If it is a Mahatma, then in the spiritual path, what are the great accomplishments they have had? So that would be included in that Birudavali. So when you hear that Birudavali itself, you feel inspired about that person of whom this Birudavali is being sung. So that they do for Bhagwan Rama and Janak Maharaj, all great people. And Goswamiji says, all other people who are there, they gave away a lot of gifts. Karahi nichavari loga sabha, haya gaya dhana mani chira. Those days, gifts were in the form of cows and cattle and elephants and so on. This is one sign of being content and happy within. In general, a jiva starts their journey with this understanding that if I get something, I will be happy. If I get cattle, if I get elephant, in those days, nowadays it will be different. Means if I get objects, I will be happy. The litmus test of Ananda is that this joy makes us give something. We say that Ananda which I have received is much more than what I received by having this object. So sign of that is giving that object away. Even in Bhagavatam we see, when Bhagwan Krishna is born, Nanda Baba doesn't have many things with him. Vasudevji also does this. Nanda Baba also does this. Vasudevji in his mind only does sankalpa that I will give these many cows to Brahmanas. Right? So that is an indicator of Ananda. If somebody is very happy, this expression of that should be with giving something. Now Goswamiji is giving so many details. He says what kind of instruments were played. That also he says. Jhaji mrudanga sanka sahanai. Somebody who's interested in Southeast Asian studies or doing some kind of research, right, on these, you can trace back instruments which were there in Goswamiji's time. You see, he says Jhanji means cymbals. They were there. Mrudangam. If you thought it was from South India, he says even in North India this was there. Mrudangam. Sankha, conch, and shahnai. All these instruments were being played. And all other sadhakas, who are there, all of them are singing different songs over there. Now Goswamiji, when everybody was describing, right, who all got into that boat, what all emotions everybody was feeling. Now in the same way, he is going to describe how they are feeling after Bhagwan has broken this bow. You can match if you want. But in general, that is a thought. That queens who are there, this is second chaupai. Sakina Sahita Harashi Atirani Sukhata Dhana Para Janupani. How did the queens feel along with all the Sakhis after Bhagwan broke this bow? Just like a drying crop feels when it gets water. Previously, he had said all these Ranis were feeling like, there was so much davanala in their mind. Forest fire was there. Now that got on this boat and that boat drowned. Now what is their mind? He says they are like as though this crop, drying crop, has gotten that rain. Janaka lahiu sukhu sochu bihai, pairata thake thah janupai. Janak Maharaj had so much of regret, so much of thinking that he was doing for Sitaji and so on. But now when finally that dhanush is broken, how did he feel? Just like a person who has been swimming for a long time and he finds ground beneath his feet. You see that assurance which comes, how much of solace comes in his heart, like that Janak Maharaj felt. If you have even swimming pool, sometimes they go the other side, right? 10 feet, they say. 3 feet, 4 feet is okay. You have the ground below. And if you're not a good swimmer, that small distance looks so long, just to go to that corner and come here. Like that Janak Maharaj felt while he was doing this entire thing. But finally this Dhanush Bhanga happened and he found that ground beneath his feet. Shri Hata Bhaye Bhupa Dhanu Tute, Jaise Divasa Deepa Chhabi Chhute. The pride which was there in all the kings, that got lost. The shine which was there, that got lost. Just like the shine of a lamp gets lost when sun rises. When real Agni is there, then this little lamp which is there, that flame as though merges with that Agni. So like that was the bhava in all these people. Now Bhagwan, before that he says, how did Sitaji feel? Sitaji felt as though that Chataka Pakshi, not Chataka Pakshi. Some people say it is baby Chataka, just to make it even more sweeter, but you can take Chataka also. That Chataka has found that water. We have seen there are different birds, right? Chakwa Chakwi means they get separated at night, looking at the moon, and come back during the day. Chataka bird just looks at the Swati Nakshatra and quenches its thirst only with direct rain. So how that Chataka Pakshi would feel after it has quenched its thirst, like that Sitaji felt after this Dhanush Bhanga. And how is Bhagwan Rama seeing Lakshmanji? Goswamiji says, Bhagwan is seeing Lakshmanji just like baby Chakora, that small Chakora Pakshi looks at the moon. this is another bird which quenches itself, or it satisfies itself just by looking at the moon. Single pointedly, it will just keep looking at the moon, nothing else. So like that, Bhagwan is looking at Lakshmanji, but it is not any chakora. He said it is baby chakora. And now Satananji, who is the guru of Janak Maharaj, he gives ajna. He gives permission to Sitaji to take that jaimala, not varamala yet, jayamala. Dhanush Yajna was there, Swayamvara was there. So this jaimala she takes. She gives, Satananji gives permission to her to take it and put it on Bhagwan. And Sitaji goes along with all her Sakhis who are singing different songs. It is called as Mangalachara Geet. Mangalachara means that which will bring auspiciousness. That kind of songs they were singing. And she was as graceful as a swan. Goswamiji is describing how Sitaji was going towards Bhagwan Rama. Gavani Bala Marala Gati Sushama Anga Apara. And how was Sitaji? He says Sitaji was like the embodiment of beauty amidst all her other Sakhis. Sakhina Madhya Siya Sohati Kaise, Chabi Gana Madhya Maha Chabi Jaise. Chabi means ocean of beauty. We remember in a previous part, Goswamiji said, there is a house which is very beautiful. Chabi Gruha it is. And Sitaji is like that lamp, because of whom that house gets beauty. So that is how Sitaji is amidst all her other Sakhis. And this Jayamala which is there, he says it is made up of lotuses. Jayamala is not ordinary Jayamala. It is made up of lotuses. And that she is taking for Bhagwan Rama. On one hand, she has hesitation in her heart, looking at Bhagwan. But on other hand, there is a lot of joy and utsaha, enthusiasm is there. But when she goes closer to Bhagwan, she goes into samadhi. Jai Samipa Ram Chabi Dekhi, Rahi Janu Kuwari Chitra Avareki. Chitra Avareki means just like a picture, as still as a picture. Like that she becomes in front of Bhagwan. This is Bahya Samadhi. In Drigdrishya Viveka we had seen. Sabdi Bhavo Rasa Swadat. That is this state of Sitaji when she looks at Bhagwan Rama. And all other Sakhis who are there, they realize this. And they tell Sitaji, why don't you just go and put this Jayamala? And some Sakhi says, do it quickly. Don't waste too much time. Just go and put it. But in spite of saying, Sitaji is saying that her hands are not going up. Because it is, Avir Bhava. She is overpowered by emotions, unable to lift her hands. Goswamiji gives an example even for that. How did Sitaji's hands look when she was going to put that Jayamala? Sohata Janu Jugat Jalaja Sanala Sasihi Sabhita Deta Jayamala. It looked as though two lotuses with their stem are stretched out to put something to the moon, to give something to the moon. How this lotuses along with the stem would look, like that Sitaji looked when she was ready to put that Jayamala. Finally, she puts it, and then all other devatas who are there, they rejoice. All other kings who are there, they get dried up, just like lotus dries up looking at the sun. Raghubara Ura Jayamala, Deki Deva Bara Bari Sahi Sumana, Sakuche Sakala Bhuala, Janu Biloki Rabi Kumudagana. And there is a lot of celebration in the city, and there are few other things that is going to happen now. On one hand, there is celebration, but suddenly situation changes. By the time that settles down, another thing comes up. Parshuramji arrives and something else will happen. Okay, so that we will see in the next session. Lot of celebration in the city, and there are अगणित गुणगण भूषण रामा आश्रित वत्सल जय जय रामा अयोध्यवासी सीता रामा आपद बांधव जय जय रामा दशरथ नंदन श्री रामा दशमुख मर्दन जय जय रामा कौसल्या सुखवर्धन रामा कामित फलदा जय जय रामा पाप विमोचन श्री रामा पट्टाभिरामा जय जय रामा जानकी वल्लभ सीता रामा जय रघुरामा जय सीता रामा वानर सेवित श्री रामा वारिधि बंधन जय जय रामा हनुमत पूजित सीता रामा श्री राम जय जय रामा रघुपति राघव राजा रामा पतित पावना सीता रामा श्री राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय जय रामा सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरि ओम।